SLR for every commercial bank, SLR for every commercial bank is same, whereas the proportion in which it has to be maintained, will differ. Okay, so SLR for every, so we can say SLR for every commercial bank is same, whereas the proportion in which it has to be maintained will differ. Okay, so this is what you have to understood. Okay, clear? So what I want to say that like SBI, PNB, ICICI all have to maintain SLR of 18% as per their deposit. Okay, so every bank will have different deposit. So RBI wants that you maintain 18% of that as a, you can say, SLR, but you have to maintain in three forms. So for example, it can be possibility that you have to equally divide in all these three forms, or it can be like this ki 50% you maintain in RBI approved security, rest 25% gold and cash. Okay, so it depends. Okay, so this proportion will differ for every bank. Okay, now this depends on the working of the bank. Now this depends upon the working of bank. So when I am saying working of bank, it means if bank is performing well, so then RBI will allow that you keep very less amount in cash under SLR and you keep majority amount in gold and RBI approved securities. So ultimately that is depends on your performance. If you are performing well, only then, otherwise it is opposite. Okay, so it means every bank will prefer to keep very less amount in cash. Okay, why? Because cash does not give any interest over that. Okay, so that is why every bank perform very well or try to perform well, so that less and less amount have to be maintained in cash. Okay, so we can say SLR offers interest rate. So we can say SLR offer interest rate, whatever amount they are maintaining, whereas CRR does not offer any rate. Does not offer any interest rate. So this is the difference that you have to remember. Clear? Now moving further, we'll see the objective of SLR. So SLR has three objectives. Number one, to control inflation. So that is why we are studying these tools. Okay, so number one, to control inflation, or you can say price stability, any one of the thing, because both are same. So this is the first objective. Number two, to protect the interest of depositors. Okay, to protect, you can say, depositors amount to some extent. To protect depositor amount to some extent. And number three, to reduce the effect of crowding out effect. To reduce the effect of crowding out effect. Clear? So this is what you have to remember. Okay, so I hope this till here it is clear to you. Okay. One student is asking, sir, what does RBI do with the deposited CRR cash? We'll talk about objective, so you will understand with that what they are going to do. Okay, so I hope this objective of SLR is clear to you. Number one, inflation or price stability. So this is the primary objective. Second, to protect depositor amount to some extent. So it means if suppose, although abhi tak aisa nahi hua, if suppose any bank get defaulted, or you can say bank get bankrupt. Okay, so there you will see one thing. Okay, there you will see one thing, that some of the amount of depositor, I am not saying all the amount, some of the amount of depositor is protected by the RBI through SLR. Clear? This is what. And third is crowding out effect. So ultimately they can reduce the effect of crowding out effect. Clear? Now yesterday we have seen what is crowding out effect, that when majority of the savings are taken by the bank. So you can understand in this way, jinko nahi pata. Now if suppose there is any one bank, okay, and that bank is having, for example, 1000 rupees as a deposit. Now out of this 1000 rupees, some SLR you have maintained. For example, assume that your SLR is 18%, so 180 rupees you have maintained as SLR, okay, and 4% you have maintained as you can say CRR, okay, so ultimately 40 rupees. So it means when you minus, you can say 220 rupees from it, okay, so whatever is left, that amount you can give as a loan, okay, that amount you can give as a loan. Now here both government and private sector is looking for the loan, but if suppose RBI says that, as I given you this statement, that the proportion in which it has to be maintained differs from bank to bank, okay, so ultimately if suppose RBI says that majority, like out of 180, 160 rupees you have to given to the government as government securities, so can we say that government dependence on this amount will reduce, and hence private sector can take the benefit. Clear? So in this way it will reduce crowding out effect. Clear to everyone? Now you talk about current affairs sometime, so you can tell me that how government is further reducing the effect of crowding out effect. Anyone? So question to you, please tell me. Anyone, please? It's a current affair based question. Economy never runs on hypothesis, economy runs on practicality. So jitna zyada is, one student is asking, sir, SLR have 4 forms or 3 forms? Basically beta, there are 4 forms, but here I have talked only about 3 forms. 4th form I will talk later, okay, so when I will introduce some concept. But for a time being, remember 3 forms. Okay. Anyone? Anyone, please tell me how government is reducing crowding out effect. Currently it is in news. I just want to see how many of you are reading news. See, UPSC used to ask news, basically whatever happened just before the prelims 4 or 5 months. Okay. See, crowding out effect is related to your borrowing only. So yesterday we have seen that if government will depend on domestic savings, which are limited, so ultimately private sector is left with very less. Okay. So if you search on Google, okay, just do the search right now. Okay, you will get the answer. Bloomberg EM index. So this is the news of, I think, yesterday itself. Bloomberg EM index. So government has said that we will raise money from Bloomberg EM index. You can say from foreign country that is using this Bloomberg EM index. And last year they have raised borrowing through, you can say, JP Morgan index. Okay, so ultimately, if you read that article, in that article also they have mentioned that if we take borrowing from outside the country by using these index, Bloomberg and JP Morgan index, so our dependence on domestic savings will reduce and there will be enough money with the private sector to take loans at less prices. Clear? Okay. Beta in scheme se upar niklo, PLI scheme, investment, okay. So ultimately these are, you can say, the concepts matlab you can use these concepts while reading it, but in exam you have to write the practical one, what government actually doing. Okay, so you cannot write hypothetical cases. Okay, so this is what they can do. So anyone can search and see that, and if you find it, please share in the group, you will understand. Clear? Okay, so this is what you have to understand. So this is the objective of SLR. Now we'll talk about if objective of CRR. So objective of CRR are two only, and this is same. So these two are the objective of CRR. Okay, these two are the objective of CRR. Okay, so SLR and CRR. Okay, so there is a commonality. So first two objective of SLR are similar to objective of CRR. So there are two objective of CRR, that is inflation and protection of deposited money, whereas SLR objective is 3. Clear? SLR objective is 3. Clear?